It is our weekly visit with our guy Alan Griffin here, getting you ready for Cuse and NC State tonight, and a really big game inside the Dome for both teams. But first off, Griff, you're coming in off this weekend off. Really, the first time all year you haven't had a game on a weekend. What'd you guys do as a team here? A little rest, get together. How'd you handle this weekend away?
We practiced, and then we did a day or two of individuals, which lightened up everything, and took the wear and tear, running up and down, battling each other in practice all day. So it was a good week off. The guys got a chance of being away, I think, 2 days out of the week, which was really good. I mean, you need to reset, recharge. They don't need to see you. You don't need to see them. And, hopefully that was a good time off so that we can get ready for a really good NC State team.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes at this point of the year, right, it just a few days apart of each other is the best way to improve things, right?
Yeah, Bill Self said it, when they went out to, I don't know, Utah, and they
were at BYU, I think. Yeah.
They went out there, and they got smoked, and he was like, it's a good week off because they're going to have to get away. He said they need to get away, and we need to get away. We don't need to see them. They don't need to see us. And, it was great to hear that. And I think that we kind of took that model to a little bit in terms of just kind of letting them get away for a couple of days.
Yeah, JJ last week said he was probably going to organize some kind of team outing or something, so I'll have to check in with him, see what the guys got up to. And, you get into this game tonight, and we all know this. It's not where you want to be, but this is a really important game as far as if you guys want to play in the ACC tournament this year. Is that stuff you talk to them about? Is that just known? How do you address that going into this game tonight?
I think for them, it's a known thing. We don't talk about it. I think from day one, and I don't want to be as cliche. Excuse me, is like, but we try to talk. Every game is important, no matter who we play, and that's the most important thing is that game coming up. Nothing else matters, right? If you take care of business again, tonight, then you put yourself in a good position. If you don't, you still got a chance, but you're just making your chances get less and less. So, when it comes to that type of stuff, we don't even, we talk about just taking care of business and trying to, get a W.
Yeah, it's not a yes or no game tonight. You don't clinch anything with a win or deny yourself anything with a loss. The women tomorrow actually have a game where if they win, they clinch their spot in the ACC tournament. They're a week ahead of you guys, so a little more cut and dried on that. But it's kind of weird, right? Because this didn't used to exist. Like, you didn't used to have a cutoff for the league tournament. Is it strange, right, knowing that there'll be three teams that you guys have been battling with all year that won't be there in Charlotte this year?
Yeah, it's a little strange, but I through my journeys, getting to this moment, I've been an assistant at some of the lower level schools. I witnessed this. I've been a part of something like this, and my year's been over a little early. So it's a sucky, a feeling if you're not playing in the postseason. Obviously, with your conference tournament, giving yourself a chance to, you just never know. But yeah, it's a weird deal, especially for the ACC. But when you expand and you bring teams, it gets really competitive, and you gotta take care of business.
NC State kind of proved the whole you never know thing last year. It doesn't have it often, but they did it. I mean, they made the run through there, and then all of a sudden they're in the Final Four. What does that show you about, I guess, any team right this year as they head toward these conference tournaments?
Yeah. The more you take care of business now, you give yourself a chance, right? And that's all you can ask for. And until they tell you your season is over, you keep fighting. And that's the one thing I give these guys credit for on our team is that they come to practice. None of them have a loser's mentality, meaning like, just shutting it down. They practice like, they preparing to win a basketball game. And as a coach, that's all you can ask for. And you just go about your day in terms of your preparation and getting them ready to playing in the game.
Because, I'm sure you've seen it. I don't know if it's happened on teams you've been a part of, Griff, but you see teams that are, not where they want to be in the standings toward the end. It is playing out the string, right?
Oh, for sure.
You see that a lot, and we haven't seen that yet. You're not getting the wins, but you're not doing that.
Yeah, and even, when you think about it, even today with the new landscape, the transfer portal and NIL and these guys dealing with, agents now, you got some agents are telling kids to stop playing, shut it down. You don't need to play it, you know what I mean? But, the one great thing about our group is that we got a bunch of guys that love playing basketball, and you know what? They love playing for Coach Autry and our staff, and, and it's reciprocated through the way we try to prepare and try to get them to win games. So I think our guys are continue to play hard and try their best.
Speaking of one guy that I guess we just don't know the status of right now is Chapa due to the foot injury. Red said Monday he was still waiting to hear. Have you gotten any news on if he can go tonight?
You know what? I think that's going to be a game time decision. If Chop, I think we're all in it for the best for Chopper, and we just gonna see what happens. If he can't play, then obviously next man up. If he can play, that's a good person to have, player to have on our team. So we just got to see what happens. And again, it's been a game time decision, and he has some discomfort, and we'll see.
All right, we'll keep an eye on warm-ups tonight to see if he is participating in that. We'll certainly update that throughout our pregame coverage here coming up in a couple hours from now. So we got Griff with us getting you ready for Cuse and NC State tonight. What is this NC State team compared to the last couple of years? Like we knew the deal with DJ Burns, and he was such an entertainingly unique kind of player, and how good of a shooter DJ Horn was. Those guys and a few others are gone. What is this NC State team this year?
I mean, NC State without those two guys are, again, I think they made the team last year. They were experienced guys. They were proven guys that got it done at a high level on that team. And, this year's team is, they still got some scoring from the perimeter players, but, I don't think they got a guy like that can really score it that attracts the same attention that DJ Burns did. He was a massive. Middlebrooks is a really good player in his own right. Hartley Hatfield, when he comes in the game, he's good. They just had more of a complete team that struggled last year, but obviously you can tell that they had the talent and they had good players with them doing their magical run. So they got really good players this year, but I think that the inside, they don't attract as much attention inside than they used to with Burns.
Burns was he had a gravitational force to him. It felt like in there. You guys played him in the ACC tournament last year, right? It was their second game in the tournament, your first, and honestly, it felt like when they beat you last year, that was kind of the game that launched them, right? You're like, this team is different. Did you sense that at the time? You're like, whoa, this is not the team we played during the.
Oh, definitely. They, some of the things that we capitalized on the first two games that we played them, it just didn't work. The third game, excuse me. I thought we, Chris played well against those guys both times, and to my recollection, Chris had foul trouble. Quadair didn't play as, the best game. I thought he struggled in that game a little bit. I thought he forced it a little bit. So we just had a bunch of things that went right for us the first two times, went wrong, and then that was pretty much the outcome of the game.
Yeah, the Chris Bell game down there was the one where he had, 28 at halftime or whatever, whatever crazy number it was.
He had 8 threes at the half in the first half.
He was one of the best shooting halves in the history of the college basketball, right. in all reality, in that game there. All right, Griff, before I let you go, I always like to ask you this. Anything on your chest that is just bothering you? I mean, you seem to have something you got to let loose here.
You know what? I got to stay away from that. A couple of things that has been said has been really blown out of proportion, and I don't mean no harm to nobody. I just say what say what comes to my mind, and but it's not. I'm not a disrespectful person. I try to be fair to everybody, and sometimes it just get taken the wrong way, which I understand, and I'm a man to sit there, and if you have a problem with it, I'll answer it and talk to anybody. It's just It's just, to be perfectly honest with you, it's just like chaotic right now. Just and not just our little world here in Syracuse, but the college basketball landscape, like just with everything going on, like a team like SMU. In our league, obviously, you look at the schedule and you say they have a quote unquote weaker schedule. They're going to win over 20 games, and they the first 4 out. You know what I mean? Like, over 20 games is not, and you can say the league is down, so forth, so on, so what. But I don't get the matrix of a lot of the stuff. I try to stay away from a lot of stuff, but it's just one of those things where I just don't get it. And everybody's talking about expansion of the NCAA tournament, which I think it should, because again, let me say this very fairly. I think some of the NCAA stuff is subjective, right? If you get a league like the SEC, which is proven, I'm not sitting there saying they're not, but which is proven, I think when it comes down to it, when it's a chance to pick an ACC school or SEC school who middle to bottom of the pack, who had a great league, and were able to get a lot of the quad one wins in that league, I think it can be subjective sometimes. So who knows what's happening? But this is not a SEC or ACC comparison or bash, so forth, so forth. It's just I just compared it to the SEC, which is a great conference, probably one of the best conferences ever, especially this year with the number of teams that they're gonna get in the tournament. It's just it's just for me to get off my chest. I don't understand the matrix all the way through, and you just gotta. You got to do better. And that's not to say, it's not saying nothing about Syracuse. It's just, when I watch college basketball, I look at stuff, and I'm actually doing the SMU scout, and I'm watching the team, because I do it sometimes too, Brian. I don't mean to be long-winded. They also, I thought it was outside of the numbers. They looked at your team, and if you were if you looked like an NCAA caliber team, that played a factor in it too, right?
100%. Yeah, you used to anyway.
Right, and me personally, as I'm watching SMU, it's probably one of the most talented, teams in our conference. So is this I'm this again. I'm just ranting because it's just one of the things that I don't know where to go when you look at that type of stuff. So.
I'd say, yeah, you're scouting them right now. When we talk next week, Griff, you'll have the in-person eye test, so you'll know for sure what you've seen from SMU next week, right?
I can tell you now, very, very, very good team. Very good team. Talented. Yeah. Talented, and they're athletic, and they have great size. Yeah, so...
That is next Tuesday down in Dallas. You'll be in Blacksburg on Saturday. And obviously the big one tonight, Cuse and NC State, with a lot on the line in the ACC standings. Yep. All right, Griff, best of luck tonight. We'll do it again next week, all right?
All right, thanks, Brian.
All right, there we are. A weekly visit with Alan Griffin, and it kind of tells you, they split up the scouts between the assistants, so Griff working a little ahead on SMU. He must have just been doing it, I think, when we chatted this morning, so fresh on the brain. So tonight, big one against NC State, and part of the reason it is so big as far as making the ACC tournament, one, NC State is right behind you in the standings, so the obvious part. Two, your next two games are on the road. Syracuse has played, what's the nice way to say it, miserably on the road this year. They're at Virginia Tech, who's mediocre on Saturday. You're at SMU, who's lacking in big wins, but has a nice record and a very high-scoring team. That is Tuesday in Dallas, and then you're home for Virginia to end the season. So a very, very important game for the Orange tonight if they remain having thoughts of making the ACC tournament for sure. All right, we'll take a break. We're about a half hour out from our pregame coverage.